Elections often come down to a good ground game, but the locals aren't always willing to play ball. Just ask these people.
What did you think, Mum?
Oh, it was really good. Surprised at how many people didn't know about the new care clinic. So glad to get that information out to the community.
Good dog. And every election has endless corflutes placed subtly around polling stations that sometimes seem a bit much.
All right, that's good. Okay. All right, okay, all right. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's enough slices!
Fiona, do corflutes actually matter?
Look, the Corflute war is real. It is, a real thing to get there the night before, claim as much space as possible. You want to make a good impression, but it clearly can backfire when you're having to walk a gauntlet like that. I think the biggest impact, it's before we get to polling day, and it's when you're in your suburb and you see someone who's got a Corflute in their front yard, up on their balcony, in their front window, because that communicates a genuine sense of, I am going to be loud and proud in my support for this candidate, and it creates a huge amount of authenticity that can actually probably shift a vote more than having to run a gauntlet of Corflutes when you're heading into the polling booth and someone wants you to put a 1 next to their name and you're probably feeling maybe a little pissed off.
Many years ago, I put a poster on the side of a 7-Eleven for Solo, and we couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, people started buying Solo in that 7-Eleven. Right, so the closer it was.
Russell was telling us a story about the day one of advertising.
So from that moment on, I've always been up for getting advertising as close to the point of purchase as you possibly can. Corflutes and what goes on the streets during elections is actually my fabulous part of the election.
I love the Corflutes too.
I'm being serious about that.
I love the carnival atmosphere. It's like Manila. Fabulous.
Hannah, can you save me from these two old men talking?
I'm going to disagree with Christopher. I also have all night, but we all brave contribution, and mine is that I actually think it feels like a bit of a line pusher, bad etiquette thing. It's un-Australian in a way. I've stood on polling booths for a lot of time for different parties, actually. And my experience a lot of the time is that Australians walk past and often they'll say, I don't like this person dominating the space. Can I have another how to vote from someone who's not just clearly the wealthiest or has the biggest resource? And they almost feel sorry for you. It's very much the underdog mentality.
Yeah.
So I'd go back with that. I think that there's a portion of Australians who think that's bad behaviour and I'll go elsewhere with my vote if they're not sure.
When I was a candidate many years ago for an unwinnable seat, the only thing I had was putting up Corflutes, right? But it made it much more competitive. So I think it's much better for democracy. Otherwise, just as Hannah says, I'm agreeing with her again. The richest candidate has all the best materials. And, you should be able to get your $2,000 and make, as many Corflutes as that will buy you, 400 or something, and put them up on the Stobie poles, as we call them in South Australia, because that's what democracy should be about, not saying you can't do this and you can't do that.
When you have to choose a photo for your Corflute, are you involved in that conversation, or is somebody else choosing the photo on your behalf?
No, I always choose my own photograph, and we doctor it. So I look really good.
And does that Dr. Bulk Bill?
He doesn't know. I've got no clue. No clue.
It's a long road back for the coalition now, and if they don't want to go the way of Trumpet of Patriots, they will need a rebrand. So hypothetically, let's say I worked at an organisation whose base audience was dying off rapidly and management was often at each other's throats. Christopher, how do you rebuild your image?
The ABC? Or...
No!
Well, they've got to start by addressing their problem with women. That's number one. If I was advising the Liberal Party's advertising, I'd say, if we can't fix the problem with women, we're never going to be back from the brink. I think the Liberal Party...
Is it an example of that sometimes the party has to change before the ads can change? You can't represent something that's not happening.
You can't pretend you've got 50% women members if you've got 12%, right? Not that we have 12%, but after this election, I don't know what the number's going to be. It hasn't been too good.
I think it's about 20.
Well, my hope for it'll be at least 20, but the reality is if the 50% of the population are women, and probably higher for the voting population, and if the Liberal Party doesn't do something dramatic about that, then they will just continue to be seen the way they are. And look, Labor went through sort of this kind of thing after the Keating-Hawke government, which was basically a party of aspirational voters. All the Western Sydney people voted Labor. Then Howard stole that ground for them and became the aspirational party and won 4 elections. So, look, it's not beyond changing your dynamic. There's no reason why the Liberal Party should assume that it's all over. But they are going to have to address the issue of where they are positioned on women and in a genuine way that doesn't have to be explained.
Albanese, in his victory speech, he had a line, which is a great advertising line, I think, which is no one held back, no one left behind. Now, what the Liberal Party should do is steal that line, right? Yeah, because that is a line for everyone. That's a line that you can build a brand, political brand, off the back of no one's going to be held back and no one's going to be left behind. And who says that can be a Labor line? Who says... who made up that rule, right?
Well, Howard's slogan in ¡96 was for all of us.
That's right.
And Malcolm Turnbull's was the burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
And for all of us, everyone thought, the country should be for all of us. But this election, we were the mean party. We're the party saying these people, we're going to sack 41,000 public servants because we don't like public servants, was the message. Well, there's public servants all across the country. They're not just in Canberra. So they're all thinking to themselves, they don't like public servants. And so hundreds of thousands of voters thought that party's not for us. That's just one example. But if you want to be the mean party, and divide the country, you're not going to get elected. Yeah. And Howard learnt that. And we were for all of us, and, the rest is history, right?
I mean, all hope is not lost. If we can make Crocs cool, we could sort out the Liberal Party.
Well, I believe the Liberal Party's new slogan is all hope is not lost.
I think in this case, it is worth them treating it like it was a brand. And they should get someone in to have a look at it like it was a brand. Because I think first they have to admit that it didn't work.
Yeah. I wish that someone from the Liberal Party would bring me in for a day and I'd give them a course on something. It'd be very helpful.
What would you say to them?
I would say, wake up tomorrow and decide you're the Teals. Wake up tomorrow and don't just emulate the kind of candidates you pick, but the kind of policies that they agree on collectively. You need to be socially progressive. You are living 100 years ago and you are dreaming of this old Australia that no one in this country wants or foresees as the future.
Yeah. So, Will, there's a wonderfully powerful word in the world of marketing, and that's new. And of course, the Labor Party in the UK did a brilliant job literally rebranding the party to New Labour and redesigning what the logo looked like. And little things like that, well, it may seem to be a little thing to do, but what it actually does is it sends a signal to the public that actually we have changed. We're changing the way we look. I mean, the current logo, literally it looks like a really bad 1980s the Fosterisation of Australia. It's geriatric. Right? When I look at that logo, it says to me, this is a party which resists change at all costs. That logo would have been done in 1985, right? You have to get a mindset of, let's call it New Liberal, and you have to then work out how do I express that in a graphic sense. Because what that will do is that will immediately get people to reassess. Obviously, you've got to have things to say underneath that, so it's not just putting glitter on a pig, whatever. All right, so
lipstick on a pig.
Thank you.
Lipstick on a pig, but you can glitter it up as well.
Thank you. So you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that tomorrow. You're not going to go New Liberal tomorrow with a new logo. You're probably doing it. You're working on what that could look like, and you're probably launching it in 5.5 years' time.
I think they also have to have something positive to say. And there's this real orthodoxy around negative campaigning, but I think what we saw this election is people want something positive. They want a vision. When you're in a cost of living crisis, you have to have hope. And I think that's where the Liberal Party, they need to be more positive and play to their strengths.
We are the first choice on national security and defence. We always have been, because we always spend more money than anybody else, and that's one of our strengths. And yet we released our defence policy less than 10 days from the election, and I was on media and I was having to make things up that we were going to spend it on, because I had no idea what we were going to spend it on. So I was saying it's going to be spent on missiles and bases and new naval platforms.
That's all worked well.
Because I was thinking, I don't know what we're going to spend it on, but it was $21 billion, right?
So you should spend it on something good.
Well,
maybe bulk billing.